Oh, hi there. Iron Drac here. I wanted to fill you in. I have received my second dosage of the vaccine for COVID 19. As I may have said and probably did in other videos, um, there are many things to consider. One of them being is sure, I could keep it a secret. I could say I took the medication, and I'm just going to proceed to lying with it because I disagree with vaccinations. That would be the decision a moron would make. The government writes all this down in their databanks on their internet systems. They know if you took the vaccination or not. It is carefully, meticulously categorized. And those idiots who go, well, you don't know what's in the medication, like, man, and it's probably like bad news, and you know what, I'm just not going to do it. I don't have to prove it to anybody. Well, anybody's not really good enough. The government body that controls this part of the system is the only persons you have to prove it to, and you have to prove it to essentially their lackeys who very eagerly want to go telling them exactly if you've taken it or not. I only just received the vaccination, so later in August I will probably not be wearing a mask as often. I think I'll always carry one with me. A nice clean mask anyway. And I mean, it is a significant thing to go, well, they know if I didn't take it. That's the reason why I'm going to go take the medications. However, I do genuinely believe that it will probably limit your risk factors as far as contracting COVID 19. And besides, it's like, if you don't take it now, they're gonna find out. And I've been hearing calls on the internet about certain regions where it might become mandated. And I mean, we all want to live as normal lives as possible, but what if you want to get on a plane and go to another country, for like vacation? And they say, you haven't had your vaccination, you can't go. Or what if you want to get a driver's license? Fuck you, you can't go. Can't go get your driver's license. Fuck you, you didn't take your vaccination. And who's to say that, the Canadian government plays fair? They don't. Who honestly believes that they do? You get Justin Trudeau, and all he wants to do is douche all the problems all throughout society that have been caused by the white man onto the people that live in this country. The people not in the upper echelon of society. This is the type of prime minister we got, and a lot of people suck up to him, and it's just like, why? He's an asshole. Just a different type of asshole. We got many different types of assholes who are in positions of power. And why they're in positions of power is, I can't even begin to describe how absurd all of that is. I mean, yes, this virus was a horrible plague on humanity. And by the way, it's probably more responsible for creating evil in the world than all of Canadian residential schools combined for those couple hundred years. It probably is. It's in the millions of people perishing because of COVID 19. But do we hear a word of blame against China? No, we don't. They ignore that on purpose because they think so highly of themselves and they can solve any problem. They don't need our input because they don't think we're particularly intelligent. And B, they want to hog all the credit for doing things that other people have to do. I mean, there was probably zero threat of Justin Trudeau ever contracting COVID-19 because he has an army of sycophants who will sanitize everything he goes to use before he uses it. Now, if only they could do that with his damn toothbrush. So maybe one day, if there truly is the man upstairs, the man in the clouds, looking down upon the people, and he sees the evil that he sees, he will do something like give Justin Trudeau esophageal cancer. And not because he's done this particular bad thing, but because he will do bad things in the future and mask it with his sanctimonious propaganda apparatus. Like, I admit, I can, I'm a little lower on the tiers, and, I don't exactly have much sympathy for my fellow man, regardless of their problems, because I'm a bit selfish, I think, of myself, and I go what I went through, and nobody was there to care, and, it has impacted me substantially. It has caused me much grief, and sometimes that turns into anger, as it would do anyone. In fact, I defy most people to behave in accordingly better than I do. I mean, I don't behave badly. I just don't do anything for anybody. I have no interest in helping people. When there's an opportunity to, throw a couple of bucks to a homeless person or some other sanctimonious act like that, no. I earn my money. It's my money. I'm not giving it away. And there's, other examples of where it's like, why don't you, spend some time serving in a soup kitchen? Why don't you really help these people? Because I value my time, and I am not looking for the approval of A, the gutter trash, and B, the people who are the sanctimonious cunts who probably only did it a handful of times themselves and will look down upon you because you don't do it. And it's like, you only did that for your own image. You're not exactly good people, and that's typical of Canadian society, that they like to pretend that they're better than they actually are. And, it's like, as I've said, I know I've said this before, well, like, I helped in a soup kitchen. It's not virtue signaling because I could just do nothing and be a jerk. Yeah, but you encourage other people to look the other way to the evils of society. You do that all the time. Serving in a soup kitchen really doesn't make a difference. I mean, there are people who get paid to do that, for example. And they don't try to, cover up the fact that they're really bad people when it comes down to it. I mean, there are so many people who do certain things like that, whatever it may be. And the reality is, it's because they want to feel good about themselves, because in other aspects of their lives, they're a bunch of assholes to everybody that they come across. It'd be like if a friggin', a librarian that went around telling everyone right in their face, shh, shut the fuck up, you're in the library. And turned around and went, but I gave $5 to that bum over there. That makes me a good person, doesn't it? No. You're just fulfilling your own perverse desire to be this person you envision yourself to be. I have no delusions. Like, yeah, I'm a prick. Okay? Fine. What would you expect after the way you treated me? I'm going to behave well. I'm going to be kind to people. I'm going to have positive feelings towards people I really don't give a rat's ass, and neither do you about. Get fuck yourself. Bunch of hypocrites. Yeah, these people, There's so many professions where that's all people do, or they're assholes to people every other day. There are different levels of this, of course, as I've mentioned. But you take, parking meter maids, for example, who go around handing out tickets. There's some people who receive tickets who could ill afford them. And you don't care because you're doing your job. Well, that's fine and all dandy. But don't go around pretending you're the good guy. You're an asshole. I really am sick of Canadian society. Like, it is so stupid. You wouldn't believe. There are actually punks running around who think if you don't listen to black rap music, which I can't stand, it's my kryptonite to be honest, that therefore that makes you a racist and the worst person in the world. And it's like, no, actually it doesn't. I don't have to like modern day rap music because number one, it's terrible. Number two, it doesn't really solve anything. You just look like a chump. That's it. It's just like the scene from Gran Torino with Clint Eastwood, and he breaks up a fight, between the blacks and this wigger who was trying to be friends with him. You just look like a moron. They don't like you, and why should they like you? And, I'm not going to be that person. And your terrible music has not won me over, to be honest. I realize I'm wearing a Slayer t-shirt, and he's a bit scritchy, that guy. But, it's more towards that type of music that I listen to. Not necessarily Slayer. I like the logos on the shirts. That's mostly its selling point for me. But I gotta tell you, I'd much rather listen to them than listen to black rap music that sounds terrible. And don't even mention Asian pop music. Ugh! I'd almost rather be deaf. And I hear Italian pop music is really bad too. I don't actually know this firsthand. I simply heard that. Actually, from an Italian person, so that's actually kind of funny. But, yeah, so, I've had my COVID vaccination. I gotta admit, it was a rough day the next day. Like, I, was sick as a dog, and, it didn't matter. I stayed at home mostly. But, yeah, like, I'm usually a bit on the ill side anyway most days because of the aggressive mental health treatment plan that I was on. So this was, a curveball I really didn't need. Got it anyway, though. I really hope the third dosage that's internet story and not actually true, because I don't want something worse than that already. Because I'm actually fairly tolerant to pain. In fact, I had one psychiatrist try to describe to me something called the threshold for pain, increasing it. And it's like, were you born in the last, 35, 50 years or something like that? Or are you a throwback from the fucking Stone Age? Because what you said sounds fucked up. That being said, I'm not personally worried of any long-term damage to my body because of this medication, because people, and this includes corporations that invent medications like this, they always got one hand on their balls because they're afraid. So they're afraid they might lose in some sort of social, moral background. And they're so terrified of this because they're, we'll call them rivalries, but they're more like enemies in the upper echelons where they are, have their own chain of reasoning for not liking them, and they don't want them getting any headway. So that's why everything moves slower than a tortoise. nothing gets done quickly, which has its advantages as well as disadvantages. But, I absolutely will rain on the parade of certain individuals who think they're better than everyone else because they do certain things that society approves as being good person, yada, 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 yada. Doesn't matter what you do outside of that. If you do this, then you're a good person. And if you fill this sort of role, instead of, simply doing nothing for anybody and having a bitter opinion about things. I like to think I don't have a bitter opinion, but, maybe a little bit. I mean, it's pretty hard to have a sore throat for 8 years and not have a bitter opinion about some things. And it's something they wouldn't tolerate for 8 days, let alone 8 years. And this is what they do to people, and they think they're right. Like, I had one, it was around Christmas time, offer me, cookies that they had made. And it's just like, go fuck yourself with the cookies. I don't fucking want them. I don't want this sore throat. Why don't you do something about that? Fuck you and your fucking cookies. Idiot. Bit of a rude thing to say, but, I didn't want the sore throat for 8 years. So, I guess we're at a standstill, aren't we? Anyway. I think I've prattled on long enough for now. I will continue this conversation, and in a few weeks' time, I will not wear a mask as often, but in certain social places, I may do so anyway. I'll make that decision later based on the current guidelines, because there's no getting away from these people. These people are savages, and they'll find you. They will, if you haven't taken your vaccination and are adhering to they're called guidelines, but what are they really? You don't think you outsmarted the system just because you lied. That's not going to work. That's, my bit of advice. Anyway, good night, and to all, a fuck you.